They're the liberal rednecks. They like cornbread and butt sex. They care way too much but don't give a fuck. They're the liberal rednecks that makes some people upset, but they got 3 big old dicks that you can suck.
Trey, before you got on here, we're talking about how right now I got what me and Drew have diagnosed as a thick throat, which is like, you know how your spit be when you've been eating sour candies a lot and it's like thick and syrupy.
He froze.
You froze up for me, baby.
I did?
Yeah, so say it again.
Do you know how your spit and like how it be when you eat like a bunch of sour candies and it's like syrupy spit and you just you can't quite hawk it up? It's like thick you don't throat. Have a thick throat. Yeah, because I don't have a sore throat.
You got
my throat
spit.
Ain't sore either. My throat ain't sore either, but I've been doing Patreon videos today, and I keep having to go like
yeah, me too.
It's because we talked so much over this weekend.
Yeah, that's true. I sometimes forget that that's a thing.
And we didn't do anything for it. Like, so we just recorded a whole bunch of episodes of Putting on Airs all together like we do. So we talked a lot over the course of this weekend. And like people that use their throats, smart ones know that you're supposed to like take care of your throat if you're going to be overexerting it. But we all dumb and trash and don't do that. And I've had the road teach me that lesson before. Yeah. I've gotten to points on the road where I was like, I don't have a fucking voice. I've lost my voice. And people will be like, you want some tea or something? And I'm like, fucking for what? Fucking what I'm going to do with tea? Right. You know? And they're like, for your throat. I'm like, fuck you talking about? What's sweet tea going to do for my throat? Like, no, not sweet tea, you dipshit. But anyway, and it does help, but we were here all weekend, and I know I didn't, and I don't think you did either, did no kind of, like, throat protection regimen, so.
Barely drank water,
so now
if I'm being honest.
Now you got that thick throat.
Yeah, it don't hit. Speaking of being on the road and stuff and doing stand-up and supposed to be taking care of your throats, I am going to rest my throat from now until December 15th or 17th, because that's when we're going to be at ZANIES Comedy Club in Nashville doing our homecoming shows. I'm super pumped about that. Boys, are y'all, either one of y'all, anywhere else between now and then you want to promote?
No.
I'll be at the Comedy Store.
Well, go ahead.
I'll be at the Comedy Store Monday. I think so.
I'll be on a show in Santa Monica this Saturday. If anybody's listening to in Santa Monica wants to come to a place called The Crow, they got free parking. It's a nice little spot, very artsy.
I've been seeing stuff about that.
It's not a Trey Crowder show, just so everybody knows. It's just a show that I will be on along with a bunch of other comics. So, but other than that, no, it's just Nashville.
I got a couple things that I want to talk about today that are in the news, such as Antonio Brown, Kanye, sort of loop that into an overall talk about mental health. Maybe the Georgia race, I don't know. But before we get started on that,
so listen, okay, the Georgia Senate race involving Herschel Walker, Kanye West,
have happened,
Antonio Brown, right?
Yeah, we're not going to get to all of it.
I'm about to say, well, I'm just saying, like, I'm glad none of our papaws are here. Is all I'm saying, because.
Yeah, it does seem like we're piling on.
Could be a bit of a minefield if a man wasn't as successfully progressive as all three of us are. Of course, we would never imply anything like that. But
that is true.
I feel like people would be expecting it the whole time, especially papaws. Papaws be like, are they never going to bring it up?
I'd say there's some papaws in Georgia who are pretty pro Herschel Walker from as a young man till now. Like he really ain't ever done nothing wrong.
Yeah, that's a good point.
100%. Before that, I wanted to tell y'all something funny that happened to me that I think Drew especially is going to get a kick out of. It's two separate things but they're both related. Did it hurt me? My feelings. Yeah. It hurt my feelings really bad. So the first one that happened was, I walk around the park every day. I get my 20,000 steps in. That's how I keep my girlish figure. And the first thing that's related to this that happened was I was walking by a guy and I had my headphones in, and I just waved. You know, you walk past somebody, you wave. You drive past somebody, you wave. You just fucking, it's two human beings acknowledging that we exist in the world. Well, I wave at this dude.
Show me the wave.
Do what?
Let's see the wave.
Yeah, you did the face too. So I was. It's so funny. It came up before
I don't
anybody
know if I did that
before anybody even brought it up.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, it's like when I start working an office job and I pass so many people in the hall, it was a thing for me. I was like, do you wave? And I realized there's the white person face, and that's what you always default to. Just.
You also nod.
And you.
I think I nod.
Yeah, you nod down to a white person, up to a black person, I think.
Yeah, and
you know what I mean?
It's like you do a weird sort of frown because the corners of your lips come down, but it's like a.
It's like the Jim on The Office look.
Yeah, right. That's a white person's default face. So I was going to make sure and bring that face up as soon as you started talking about this, but then Drew said, "Show me the wave," and your wave incorporated the white person face. So
it can't not.
No,
it's like your face. It's like your face is on a string with your fingers. That when you throw the fingers up, it does that. So I just do that, and then as soon as I do that, like I said, I had my headphones on, and as soon as I do that, out of the corner of my eye, I see this guy turn around. I could inaudibly hear something because I had my headphones on. I turn around. I go, "Excuse me," and he goes, "Do I know you?" And I go,
"Oh no."
I go, "No," and he goes, "Well, you just waved at me," and I was like,
"Where did you say this happened?"
In the park.
What park?
In the Chickamauga battlefield.
Okay,
yes,
so
I get it. It could.
No. Not LA. Not you've been in LA.
No,
this didn't happen in LA. This happened in Chickamauga.
No.
Okay.
This was my hometown, and I was just like, I was just waving. He was like, "Oh, okay," and then that was the end of it, which is like, whatever.
Do you think if you had just nodded, it would have went the same way?
I don't know. Because
not that it was your fault. I'm just curious what this dude's thinking process is.
I don't know if he's got some personality disorder where he takes everything literally. It's because I acknowledged him that he was like, why would someone acknowledge me if they don't know me? I don't understand this. But like, that's clearly what was going on. But the second one, which was more egregious, without question, it was like 2 days later, walking around the park, see this guy. Give him this, right? I make another lap. I'm coming back up. I see the same guy. I didn't really realize it was the same guy at first, but as I'm giving him this, I realized like, oh, this same guy. I've already said hey to him. And I did that, and like in a very Larry David way, he goes, "You know, you don't have to do that again." Right.
Was this Drew you ran into or something? Is this Drew doing a bit in a costume or something?
I knew
Drew put on makeup and went out to the battlefield just to fuck with you or something like that. Because this sounds like a thing Drew would do to troll people to me.
I agree, and I did. And
how would that be trolling people? He was right.
No,
because you're going to keep passing each other.
Yeah.
Look, enough with the waves. We've waved.
Okay, but I think you do it on 3. You bring it up 2, but again, and I thought he was doing I was assuming that this guy was about to hit for me, that he was doing a bit, and I go, yeah, and he goes, no, it's just like we've already done it. Like you've already waved at me, and I was like, yeah, okay, all right, bye. And then I walked the complete other way so that I wouldn't pass him again. But like those were 2 days apart. 2 separate people in Chickamauga did that to me.
Oh, that wasn't the same guy?
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
But you did pass him twice.
No. I'm saying these were 2 separate stories.
Right.
The second guy I passed twice, but the first guy these are 2 separate stories. But yeah, I passed this guy twice. But like these are 2 separate occasions that happened within 2 days of each other. And I've never had anything like that happen. And I'm not behaving in a way that's different. Like I always, I've passed millions of people in the park. Everybody's just like, yep, we know the deal, whatever. And so, yeah, it was just weird to me. And I would go with the theory of like, you know, when I'm in my park, it's like somebody might know me and I might not hit for them, but like that wasn't the case, at least on the first guy, because he didn't know if we knew each other or not. You know what I'm saying? So like that theory's out the window.
Well, that last part of that Go ahead, Drew.
I think I got a delay. Go ahead, brother.
Only that last part of what you said I've been dealing with a little bit lately, Corey. You're like, oh, it's my hometown. I think maybe they know me and I don't hit for them or whatever, right? So I've been having to because of stuff going on in my family, I've been having to make phone calls back around both Salina. Meemaw, I've talked about on Patreon stuff. Meemaw's got dementia, nursing home, all that shit.
Yeah,
so
man, that sucks. I'm sorry,
I've been having to make a lot of phone calls to the area I grew up in. And I hate it, not just because I hate making phone calls, but also because every time in my head, I'll be like, I'm sure I don't hit for this person. I'm sure whatever. It's there's no, I was like, they're going to know who I am and I don't hit for them and whatever else. And then the other part of my brain will be like,
it's like having an ego, but the reverse way.
Right. No,
you know what I mean?
So then the other part of my brain, when I think that, will be like, Trey, get over yourself, dude. You're not that big of a fucking deal. Especially if I'm calling someone in Cookeville, which is the bigger town near where I grew up. And especially if I've got to call someone in Cookeville, I'm like, dude, it's pretty arrogant of you to assume these people are just going to know who you are immediately.
Right.
But I'm not kidding. Literally every single time. I just got off the phone with a lawyer 30 minutes ago. And when she picked up the phone, I said, hey, this is Trey Crowder, return your call. And she goes, you're a famous person. And I was like, no, not really. But yes, I am that guy. I was like, I hope that's okay. And she was like, yeah, whatever. But anyway, every single time, one of them I talked to was like, and this made me feel like a dick, but it's been 15 years. I wasn't thinking about it that way. One of them was like, yeah, dude, we went to school together. I was at Tech with you. We used to get drunk together all the time. And I was like, oh, right. It's just every single time. And and when it's in Salina, before I even get anything out, they're like, is this Trey? Timmy called you. It's about Wanda, whatever. They're talking about Uncle Tim, Paige, whatever. They just know the whole family and the whole deal before they even get on the goddamn phone. And it's every single time, every time it got. Now, it's never, this is all sort of business or professional related shit that I'm talking to people about. I'm not just calling to shoot the shit. So
you would
no one has nothing weird has happened.
Yeah, of course, because they're having to keep it.
My only point is that I'll have the thought, oh, they're going to know who I am and it ain't going to hit. And then I'll have the thought, get over yourself. Not everybody knows who you are. And then I call them and they know exactly who I am immediately and make a comment about it right off the bat. And it's just a mixture of small town. That's just how small town shit be, especially when you have any kind of notoriety or whatever in that area. It's just
a similar thing.
People do be knowing.
Yeah, a similar thing has happened to me a couple times where there will be a party or something, and I'll know they're like so and so's on their way, and I'll be like, oh my god, I haven't seen so and so in since pre-hit, and a lot of time because we've we've always had the same opinions, but my friends never really got mad at me for them until we got successful with them, and then they were like, boo. So I've been like, oh, I don't know how this person it feels about me now, just because we haven't seen each other, and a lot of people that I used to fuck with don't like me as much anymore. And this has happened twice, and it was the most deflating thing in the world in both situations. I was like, yo, what's up, man? How you doing? He's like, dude, I'm good. Man, good to see you, dog. And I'm expecting him to now to be like, dude, congrats on everything, all your success. It's so fun watching you blow up. And they'll be like, so are you still doing stand-up? And I'm like, God damn, they don't even know to hate me for something. You know what I mean? They don't even fucking know that shit. Yeah, the ego, that's a hell of a thing.
Yeah, well, another part of that whole thing is having not been on, TV and shit lately. You know what I mean? A long time. Yeah. It's you came out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden you're on TV and you were kind of hot shit, but then you haven't done that in a long time. I'm talking about me and you. I'm talking about all of us.
I was about to say.
And so it's for these people, it's
you don't hit anymore.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, how else would you interpret it? Other than, you kind of started to hit for a minute, right? But you don't now, right? Isn't that what's going on? You don't hit now?
It's literally when we started. You still doing that comedy thing?
Yeah.
You have to consistently be in their face on TV for them to stop doing that. I'm upset we moved to a general discussion. I'd like to go back to the specifics. If we may, for a moment, I like to imagine that old boy, the second one, has a podcast, and he's having a similar conversation this week where he's like, this fucking guy, and he's saying the same things. It's like, I think he's got some kind of personality disorder, or he might have been a little slow. And I feel kind of bad. Like, I feel guilty because, like, I think I chided someone who's, like, maybe reads on a 4th grade level because he waved. It's like, he just kept waving. And I should have been like, hey, little guy. But instead I was like, what are you doing? What are we doing here? But then he talked and, like, he was definitely a special person.
Speaking of which, my kid, Amber just got back. Amber just got back from the doctor. And I told y'all off podcast, but I wanted to mention it for our fans that the first thing the doctor said to her the other day when they got the 4K scan was, does your husband have a big head? And then today when she went to they did like the full body scan of it and they were getting its vitals or whatever. Apparently my child is trending like very big. Like it's
the whole thing.
It's
or
a
just
really,
the head.
The whole thing. Like, no, the whole thing. Like, they're like, this is going to hurt you. Like, this is going to be, this baby's going to be pretty fucking big.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's just going to come out big like
that,
and then.
You're that Family Guy headline. It's like elephant child birthed by local woman or whatever it is when Chris was born. That's going to be the next, next issue of the paper.
I don't know if it's going to like just, because like it's possible to just be a big baby and then you're not otherwise a big person. But like it would be wild if I had like some 6'8" kid. That'd be crazy.
I was a pretty big baby. How big were y'all? I think I was. I think I was
like 6.5 pounds.
Yeah, I was like close to 10 pounds.
I think.
I was like 9 pounds.
Jesus Christ,
ounces. Yeah, I was I was a pretty big ass baby, and I'm fat and don't hit and stuff, but I'm not gargantuan. But I do have
a freak.
I got freakishly sized hands and feet and stuff like that. So my size is sort of all over the place and has been my whole life. Yeah,
yes.
You got to move like a Rottweiler puppy.
He does, or like a basset hound with the ears flapping, or like a kid that just put on his dad's shoes. You know, Trey kind of has that walk about him. Like
I had a cousin who weighed 14, and he's not a small man, but like, he doesn't walk into a room and go, "Damn." I mean, my nephew Jake is bigger than him by quite a bit, and
14.
14.
That is
huge.
like 2 babies.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they had to do the surgery. I think they were like
C-section.
Yeah, I think they were like, no one should have to do this.
So are there, we could just ask a woman or I could look it up, but I would rather not do either of those things.
Or no, because you're about to do it.
Yeah, right. Is a C-section, is there like some health risks that are associated with doing it that way? There have to be, right? Because otherwise, why wouldn't you just do that?
Probably more expensive to just do it, but also I would imagine surgery in general carries some risk.
Yeah, right. Anesthesia. Yeah,
surgery just
because otherwise they just do that.
I feel like, and that speaking as
I'm a pussy,
a
so I would just risk it. Yeah, I would risk it. That's me.
One thing that I've learned just from having these conversations with Andy, in the theoretical sense, because she's not pregnant yet, lying on their backs was just like so the doctor could see what they was doing. Mm-hmm. It is apparently pretty established that it's worse for the mother and the child, and no one cares.
Yeah, you're supposed to do it doggy. That's like better.
If things are not going like ideally, the first thing they'll do is tell them to flip over on all fours. In my experience, I guess it depends on what's happening, but like we had issues with the boy's heart rate.
The opposite.
Mm-mm. Both times there was a very mild issue. It ended up being nothing where it's like, oh, the baby's heart rate is dropping. And I've never been more terrified in my life. Both times, like I was scared as fuck, but it ended up being not big of a deal. But both times when that happened, they like told Katie to flip over and get off her back and get on all fours because that helped somehow. And I guess it did help somehow. So it makes you wonder like why they wait to do that. But I don't know. I think his feet, I think I'd rather just lay flat ass on my back than have to be up on my hands and knees. Yeah, right. But we should take a break.
Yeah.
Well,
So, anyways, my baby is huge. I'm what I wanted to talk about, and again, we're
right.
probably
I was going to
only
say,
going to
like,
get
you
to
ain't
one of
said
these
a
things,
word
which is
about, you know, these
I
fucking
know.
crazy lunatics who happen
We're
to be
not-
black and has nothing to do with it. But yeah,
Well, we're it does it because
it doesn't. I know it doesn't.
But, like,
I'm not being ironic. It doesn't have
main-
anything to do with it.
No, I know. No, I know. I'm just agreeing with you, knowing how that still sounds. The main one that I wanted to talk about was that, like, so of the person who takes the crazy cake this week, I mean, you have to give it up to Kanye for going on Alex Jones in a black morph suit and talking about how much Hitler hits. Yes,
That
And
sounds like it was
last week.
10 days ago.
but okay. But my point is,
That
was so crazy that Antonio Brown was in a standoff with the motherfucking cops, and that is just completely relegated to the sidelines of
I thought
what's
that
going on.
like sort of like not debunked, but like that like they came to arrest him. He was like, I ain't coming out, and then he did. Like, was it actually a standoff? I guess is what I'm asking. Was it actually a standoff?
I never heard how it, ended up, which I would like to know. So it just nothing
hold on,
really happened.
Y'all chat away, and I will look that shit up because I have to know too. Because I mean, I thought that the article was like Antonio Brown. Even the article that I read the headline of, you know what I mean? Antonio Brown.
Yeah, I mean, I think they went to arrest his ass, and he was like, "Fuck y'all." And they were like, does he have a gun? And somebody who knows him was like, he's got like 10. But I'm pretty sure that it kind of just ended. I don't think it was like a real standoff, but I could be wrong.
Well, I mean,
What
they
you got?
clearly didn't shoot him. Otherwise, we would have heard about, okay, former Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver Antonio Brown has a warrant out for his arrest for battery charges and has reportedly locked himself inside the house. He's now engaged in a standoff with local police who are trying to get him to come out of the house by speaking with him via megaphone. Okay, so this was obviously written right after it happened.
Right.
So, but, like,
Just imagine putting that article out and no updates. Well, that was a
I
good
know.
day's work. Time for dinner.
Yeah.
Well,
and wait. Okay. Hold on now, Drew. Now I don't know how reputable this sports site is. It's called sportskedia.com, but it says Antonio Brown and the police were never in a standoff over misdemeanor charges. Fact-checking report. Antonio Brown's 2022 just went from bad to worse in a few hours. Earlier this week, the police issued a standoff, blah, 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 blah. And then it says here, that being said, several reports spoke of a standoff between police and Antonio Brown. But I guess that didn't. I don't know. This is very. Very weird. It does make sense that not much happened. Otherwise, we would hear about it.
Right, because I just went and looked up Antonio Brown on Twitter like now to see if there's any newer shit, and it's mostly just people talking about like making the same point you made, Joe, where it's like Kanye went so nuts today that Antonio Brown been in a standoff with police for 12 hours and nobody even gives a shit.
12 hours.
Antonio Brown showing Kanye the ropes on how to fuck your life up, stuff like that. It's all just jokes about the two of them, but I did find this one. To clear up some misinformation, there isn't a police standoff at Antonio Brown's house. Police are trying to serve him, but they can't find him. It's a misdemeanor for throwing his shoe at his baby mama. Eventually, he'll turn himself in, but they're not going to just barge into his house. That comes from Robert Little, BSO.
So, yeah, on a misdemeanor in most states, you could get a warrant. I'm surprised they didn't, but they're just trying to serve him. That's hilarious. Well, that's funny. It's definitely funny that the internet ran with it, too.
This other thing says that they did issue an arrest warrant for Antonio Brown. And, says police
so why didn't they bust in
negotiators.
His house?
Says police negotiators are trying to reason with Brown using a megaphone. I don't know. It is very weird that this is all from like days ago, and I can't find any updated information about it at all. It had to have just ended up being a big nothing burger, and everybody was like, let's just all sort of ignore that, because if it was actually some wild shit, they'd still be going with it for sure.
But I mean, back to the point of that, I guess Corey was originally making. It could have been, even if it is a nothing burger situation, I can't believe, because it's such a attention-grabbing headline, that
For sure.
it wasn't at least addressed. Like, I'm really shocked. I'm almost impressed with ESPN for not making a big mountain out of this molehill.
Yeah, right. Because, I mean, it's not like it was, I don't know what receiver to even throw out there that if they did this, who would give a fuck. But, like, Antonio Brown is, like, one of the most famous wide receivers of all time and more famous for being a lunatic, I would say, than anything. So
the only other thing I can think of is there's all these accusations that the NFL basically threatens outlets and can, to a certain extent, control them. That this is like that mid-level type story where the NFL is like, we don't want you covering this, and if you want access to X or Y, don't do it because it's just bad. The NFL wants to make Antonio Brown obsolete. They want to Maurice Claret him, and what I mean by that is make him one of those like asterisks. It's hard because of what you just said, Corey. He's very famous, but that's what the NFL wants. They want Antonio Brown to not be associated with the NFL.
yeah, right. Like so the Maurice Claret thing was he came out early from Ohio State and then like he robbed a liquor store or some shit.
He got injured. He got injured and was out of the league and then got cut because he came back to camp fat or something like that. And then immediately turned to crime. And it wasn't just like he may have robbed a liquor store, but it was also like, and they found 9 machine guns in his car and a bunch of drugs. I mean, he did years.
Oh, word. He actually did years. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, no, I knew the whole situation was bad, but I thought it was just like, yeah, it's super sad he's not in the league and now he's just not hitting. But I think he does like motivational speeches and shit now.
Good for him.
I'm pretty sure.
Man.
Yeah, no, I know, man. Like that, dude, you talk about like an absolute tragic bust.
Joe.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that is the only positive way you can go with it, or one of the few, and that's good that he did it.
It's good that he did the crime.
No, that he turned it around and became a motivational speaker.
Yeah.
Like, generally, when I hear about a motivational speaker, I get the skeevies. So I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's like if somebody that's been through something, it's like, well, not a lot of options with that big felon on their record.
Well, right.
And
yeah.
also, what did I expect him to do? Cool. But it is funny, too, because it's like, yeah, that's what inspires me, hearing about a guy blowing it all so he can rob a liquor store.
Yeah. Well, but like you said, though, like if he really is like, I want to make sure that some kid don't turn out like me, like, yeah, what else is he supposed to do? Trey, what were you about to say?
I listen to Ryan Leaf talk.
What's iButter?
What do you
EYE or
like,
with an
no,
I?
No, like iPhone, but with butter, iButter. What is that, Corey?
Oh, is it an app?
Electronic butter.
Well, see, last night at 10:57 p.m., Corey Forrester tweeted from Los Angeles, California, iButter.
At what time?
10:57 p.m.
At what time?
10:57 p.m.
Is that
Buddy,
LA time?
You know how I was at 10:57 p.m. last night.
He was just about to get on a red eye. But yeah, I was on Twitter looking for AB stuff, and then on my timeline I just saw where you had tweeted iButter. And so I retweeted it, of course.
I have no recollection of that at all.
Because you do be butter. Some people made some replies, jokes, whatever. You responded to none of them that I could see. So I guess the world may never know.
Did you take Xanax?
No, I'm looking for some though.
That might be a blackout situation.
Dude, sometimes when I'm like really drunk, I go on like a tear on Twitter, and I won't remember I'll remember having tweeted, but there'll be one in there that was just like it sort of like caught a stray. You know what I'm saying? In the middle of some other tear. So I don't know, but I'll tell you what, iButter. Let's look into it because that sounds like that would hit.
Yeah, I think he was on to something. Maybe you had an idea at the time. It's a shame that it's lost to the ether. You say you go on a tear on Twitter. And that means a few different things, but
not the one that hits.
No, the drunken terror. I've said before that like how alcoholics, they'll have like court ordered breathalyzers that go in their car. They have to breathe into the breathalyzer to start their car if you're too much of a drunk. You need one of those for Twitter. I think 100%. Sometimes because
without question
you're not in terrible company because did you see where Lamar Jackson went off on haters on Twitter last week or recently,
Yeah.
and got into some shit. He said something like, "Motherfuckers are always capping on this website. These,
That means
losers."
lying, right?
Lying. People are always lying on this website. He said something like, never even smelt, SMELT, never even smelt a football field, never done nothing but eat a dick, talking shit to me, right? Yeah. And I was like, I saw it, and I thought of you immediately. I was like, woo, Lamar, you probably just sort of not sent that one. And I don't think he even got drunk. He was just mad because they'd lost or whatever. But like, you and Lamar are cut from the same cloth, I think, because I've seen you
Fine by me.
go on similar tirades whenever somebody says you don't hit on Twitter.
Before you find by me,
here,
I think he also threw a slur in there, did he not?
No, he didn't throw a slur in there, but he did get.
Oh, I thought that's what I read.
He did. Well, he did get like pushed. He got shit on for it because of the eating dicks thing.
I'll get the fuck out of here.
I know, dude. I'm like, dude, people say eat a dick all the time.
Yeah, it's not
eat a whole bag, eat a bag of dicks, whatever. It's that's not.
Yeah,
that is not fucking homophobic.
Cannibals eat dicks, not gay people.
It's right.
And if we're not allowed to shit on cannibals, I ain't doing it no more.
But yeah, he said never done nothing but eat dicks, and he did get like in some hot water for that because people said it was homophobic and shit. But I personally think that's reaching a little. I feel like eat a dick exists in its own sort of
fine
insult space that ain't got nothing to do with actual gay people or like gay people. Women eat dicks, suck dicks, whatever.
Of course,
like, I don't see how it's homophobic.
Yeah, even if he had said
really
out here sucking dick, I could defend that and be like, well, that could be like, you guys are too busy sucking dicks, like sucking up to people. You know what I mean?
Joe.
Yeah, I mean, I'll defend it either way.
You're drunk when you do these, so I'm sure you probably can't really answer, but do you know what the funniest or wildest or most egregious example of you doing that is that you can think of? Like, can you think of any?
No.
I remember, I know I've seen you threaten to stab people to death before.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen you go pretty hard.
Yeah, one of my go-tos is somebody will be talking shit to me, and I'll quote tweet them and be like, "Don't make me come down to where you live and make a shoe store out of your ass, you no talent motherfucker," or some shit like that. But the ones that are really, really bad, they're so bad that even drunk me realizes how bad it is, and I immediately delete it, and then I wake up and forget that I had done it. Or I'll get a text from one of y'all on the thread that's like, "Hey, dog, you might want to just not with this one." I was about to, by the way, be like, "See, me and Lamar Jackson, that's cool. I'm in good company, but like he's also a very young man, so that's not like you know what I'm saying? Like I'm like 12 years older than his ass. I should not be this way."
What is it that changes in your brain when you get drunk? And anybody that drinks, I'm sure, can automatically relate, but I'd still like to hear you talk through it. Like you get drunk and all of a sudden you'll do that when you won't otherwise. Just like the ass whooping switch.
Yeah, the ass whooping switch. And also, like, I'm naturally a defensive person anyways. Like, I'll be the first to admit that. Like, I'm super fucking
You're
defensive.
the most defensive person I've ever met in my entire life.
I don't think that's true, but...
Yeah, there it is. That's
no, I agree. No, I 100...
You are one of them, though.
I 100... No, dude. I don't know all the other people that you know, but I believe you. You know what I mean? Like I 100% believe you. And I worked on it in therapy because I start like when you basically like I started seeing a lot of stuff in my dad that I disliked, and I was like, oh fuck, I know why I dislike that. I do that shit too. You know what I mean? And when that switch kind of flipped for me, I was like, okay, dude, well, like, here's the thing. These are things that are about you that you don't like. You can't change the fact that that's how you've always been. The only thing that you can do is try to be less of that, But when I'm drunk, all of that, like when I'm sober, I'm in a really good mental place. I've learned to take 10 seconds, take a breath. And somebody put something on Twitter that was like, yo, if this... think about, before you react to something, think about, is this going to matter in 6 days? Is this going to matter in 6 weeks? Is this going to matter in 6 minutes? If the answer to any of those is no, don't let some motherfucker don't let some motherfucker take 30 seconds to ruin your whole 24 hours, because that's what you're doing when some troll, fucks around. It's like you're letting this person fuck your whole day up. So when I'm sober, I don't even really like be checking that stuff, or I'm just like, dude, you know what? Fuck them, whatever. But then when I'm drunk, all those drills that I've learned, all those like breathtaking exercises that I've done, you just forget it. They just go out the goddamn window, and I go back to default Cho, and default Cho is a motherfucking lunatic. And again, this is why I try not to drink as much anymore, because I don't feel good about it. I don't fucking like it, but and again, I know that what you've just said about me is true, and I'm a mental wreck, but I am, doing way better now than I ever have been. You know what I mean? And I'm self-aware, and I'm trying to work on those things. But again, when I've had one too many mimosas or whatever the fuck, buddy, it's fresh out the box, Cho. Here it comes.
One instance, you weren't drunk when this happened, and so instead of talking any shit, you just listened to everybody. But one instance of you getting admonished immediately by people on the internet recently that I would like to defend you for, because I'm sure most people didn't even see it. This lasted less than 5 minutes before you deleted it, because everybody immediately went in on you. But you didn't deserve it, I don't think. So I found this video on Reddit of these dudes, these guys. I think they were in India. They're in another country, Albanians. I think, but doesn't matter. These dudes found a bear cub with its head stuck in like a cardboard box. He couldn't get his head out of this box, but it's still a fucking bear cub, right?
Yeah.
So they go over there, and one guy's trying to get the bear's head out of the box, and he does, and then, in my opinion, you can see he pulls it out, and then he's like, "Oh fuck, I'm holding a bear," and so he just sort of yeets it to the side
off a cliff,
and the angle of the camera angle makes it look like it's off a 300-foot cliff. So he pulls this bear's head out of a box and yeets it to its death. I read on Reddit that was cut from a longer video. In the longer video, the camera peeks over the edge, and you can see it's more like the hill in Tommy Boy or whatever that Chris Farley rolled down or whatever.
That was Black Sheep, not Tommy Boy.
Black Sheep. Sorry. I got those two mixed up this weekend.
Everybody
too.
Does.
But anyway,
why wouldn't you?
The hill in Black Sheep that Chris Farley rolled down, it was more like that. The bear cub was fine. It got up and ran away. But they cut it at the point where it looks like this dude just shalaunched a bear cub.
Shalaunched?
Shalaunched, yeah. Saved a little bear cub and then immediately shalaunched it off a cliff to its death. I thought it was the funniest fucking thing I'd ever seen in my life.
We were dying.
I was crying, laughing. It was so unexpected. I saw it like while laying in bed in the morning. I got up and immediately put on Reddit for, just because how I am. And I was crying, laughing in bed. And I sent it to y'all. And when I sent it to y'all in the group chat, you immediately responded, Republicans after they save a trailer baby from being aborted. Which is fucking perfect. It's a great fucking joke. Yeah. It's perfect for that GIF. It's on brand for us.
Yeah.
So I told you, I was like, you got to tweet that. That's hilarious. That's great. And you're like, I'm going to do it. I should do it. I'm going to do it.
By the way, I think people need to know this. We even, for like a couple minutes, workshopped the best way in order for me to go about it. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like it was like a crime of passion. Like, it was very well thought out. It had been run by a group of professional comedians who figured out this is exactly how we should do it. And then I said, and you were like, dude, that's a fucking banger. And I go, yeah. But because we have all approved it as such and we think it's funny, I bet you it won't do that good, because that's how that goes. Things that we think are great are. Yeah. That
is how that goes. But as soon as you tweeted it, everyone immediately was like, pretty classless, bro. Not cool. Sharing animal cruelty videos really publicly on Twitter. And not only that, but making a tasteless joke about it. A tasteless, like what's the word? Poverty shaming joke or whatever the fuck. What's classist? A tasteless classist joke.
Yeah, classist.
Involving animal cruelty. How dare you, Cho? And according to you, that was it's so funny because I went to Twitter immediately to look for it so I could retweet it because I was so excited about it. And you said that was the immediate response. Everybody said that. You got like 5 to 10 responses like that immediately, so you just deleted it.
Yeah, 10 to 12. Yeah. Like if it had just been...
See, if you'd have been drunk, that might have got ugly, is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. No, it would have got... Bro, it would have got super fucking ugly. Because what I'd have done was I'd have turned my phone around on me and done a video... Which, this always goes over well, explaining the joke and explaining why I hit. Then I would have thrown y'all motherfuckers under the bus. I'd have been like, this also, by the way, was workshopped in a goddamn group filled with professional fucking comedians. But like, it was, if one person had said some shit, it's like, whatever. Because it's usually like, if you get 20 positive responses, you're going to get one that's like, maybe not what you want. But like, literally 10 to 12 in every single one of them, except for one lady who was like rolling on the floor, laughing my fucking ass off. Holy shit, dog. But it was one out of like the rate. It just wasn't.
That lady hits.
She does hit. And I want to say like, it sucks. It just wasn't worth it. But now yeah, for sure. I really do wish I'd have left it up now just to see, like, just to observe it for a couple days and see. I would like to see people, but without me arguing, see if there was like the diamond in the rough that would come in there and do my job for me and be like, no, here's why the joke hits. You know what I mean?
Right. But it was just bothering me that people assumed, I guess that these guys would, I don't know. It just seems so obvious to me that they were like, we should help that bear. He gets the bear's head out, and then he freaked the fuck out, which I think is completely reasonable considering he's holding a bear. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I totally get it. I don't think there's anything weird about it at all, but so many, because on Reddit too, so many people are like, those heartless monsters. How dare they do that stuff? And I'm like,
it's pretty clear they were trying to help, and then, like you said, it went like...
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like they didn't save a bear just to yeet it, I don't think.
No.
If they had of, though, I still would have cackled like a wolf watching the video because it was super fucking funny. But yeah, so but like I said, if I'm drunk, man, I literally go back to default. Like with mental health and all my stuff, like, like any therapist will tell you, it's like wiping your ass. You can't just do it once. Like, you're gonna have to do it every time you take a shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
is that a therapy thing? Like, is that a therapy maxim? What you just said?
No, that's just how I.
You said any therapist will tell you. Any therapist will tell you you can't wipe your ass once after you take a shit. Well, I don't even remember what you said now, but it hit.
I don't either. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it is like, but mental health is like brushing your teeth. It's like brushing your teeth, though.
Which would be more ridiculous is if a therapist used that as an example. Like, they got their fucking degree on the wall, and they're like, look, it'd be like taking a shit and wiping your ass one time and thinking you was good for the or would it be more ridiculous if Corey had worked on in therapy with his therapist that he has to wipe his ass?
But y'all get what I'm saying, though. You get what I'm saying, like
it's a process, not a result.
Yeah. Exactly. If you're dirty and you take a shower, good. But like, then if you don't shower the next day, you're gonna get re-dirty. And like,
teach a man to fish and wipe his ass.
And now a lot of the things that I really had to like consciously make an effort to do, now they are just how my decision making works now, because that's what forming habits is, and that's all you're trying to do. But like, it's still an everyday, like, okay, Corey, don't slip back into your old ways because I don't want to be that guy anymore. But as y'all know, like, again, when you're drunk, all your inhibitions are fucking gone, and like, you lose control, and me losing control makes me revert back to a self that was not well. And you can tell, I think. Let's take a break real quick.
Yeah, let's. So, I mean, Kanye, I guess. Kanye, what is there any coming back for Kanye? I mean, God, dude,
no,
I Love Hitler is about as, I don't know what's past that. You know what I mean?
No, we're about to see. I promise you that because he's got to keep leveling up. No, I think that's kind of what I wanted to talk about too. There's for a very, very long time with Kanye, I've been like, man, we are watching a man have an absolute mental breakdown in public, and for a lot of this time, I felt bad for him because I was like, this is a guy like. He needs genuine help. And like, I'm not going to sit here and dunk on someone who clearly needs genuine help. But speaking of someone with mental health issues, when your mental health issues start affecting everybody else, then it's fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta want to get better. So like, no, dude, it's just unforgivable. And I hate it because goddamn it, I loved him.
There's also like plenty of people who, are in an institution who literally don't know what walls are, who don't hate Jews.
Yeah,
like do you know what I mean?
That's what I was going to say about my mom. Is like, dude, my mom has genuine mental, and I've like tried to forgive her for a lot of it, but like, she might think the whole world's trying to fuck her over, but not specifically the Jews, though. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it doesn't have to take the form of any kind of racism or anti-Semitism or whatever. It's like it's not an excuse for that.
But I do think that people are more susceptible to sort of conspiracy theory bullshit when they're in a state like that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
And that doesn't excuse it at all. But I do think that there's like people going, oh, Kanye's just going nuts. And other people accurately point out, just because you go nuts doesn't mean that you'd be being anti-Semitic. But like, isn't there like a sliver of overlap of like you lose, like clearly he has something inside him that connects with this hateful ideology, and that's disgusting and you have to condemn it. But like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Well, do you think he was like, just pretending not to be anti-Semitic before he went nuts?
Right. Well, I think, look, I don't know how else to say this. If you pay any attention to like the sports world or whatever at all, it's like, there's been a little bit of a trend lately with
Kyrie.
High profile athletes and also celebrities and stuff, most of which that I'm currently thinking of have been black and going in on the Jews or sympathizing with Hitler or whatever. And it's apparently because there's like a group, I'm sure you know, there's a group, there's like a black power. I know that's not the right way to term it, but whatever. There's like a powerful black group that also, like Louis Farrakhan runs it, right? And Jews don't hit for him. And so it's like a lot of it is just like black people do hit, which that's fine. But also sometimes there's an element of Jews don't hit, which is not fine. And so there's been a lot of it's been a thing lately. They've been going in on Jews and then they'll come to each other's defense and stuff. And it's like, it's super weird. The first one I remember was Deshaun Jackson, which is like 2 years ago or something like that. I
don't remember that one.
Yeah, Deshaun Jackson. He talked about Hitler not being wrong about everything and shit like that. It was wild. But
there's plenty of references in rap too because of the 5%ers. 5%ers.
It's 3 or 5.
3 or 5 percenters.
It's 5, 3/5. It's 5 because the threes are a racist white group.
Right. That's true. They're a motorcycle gang.
Right. Yeah. Right.
They have this thing of like 80% of the world is neutral, whatever percent of the world is shitty, and 3% is willing to stand up to him or something like that. I ran into some of these folks when I lived in Harlem. We've talked about this on the podcast like a year or 2 or 3 ago. This has been around for a while. And look, there's groups within the groups. Actually, shout out Dave Borey and Langston Kerman. They have a podcast called Things My Mama Told Me, and they go over all this. But
like racist stuff my mama told me?
But no, they do a bunch of stuff, but they just happen to do this conspiracy theory episode of it.
Oh, right
it's basically like black myths, like myths started by the black community or black conspiracy theories is my understanding of what I've only listened to 2 or 3 episodes, but I listened to this one. It was cool. But anyway, these folks, like, it's not just like we don't like Jews. It's that there are no Jews. We are the Israelites. The people who call themselves Jews took our history and culture. Like the Jews in the Bible were black, and then this group of people, and it's not clear to me how or why they did it, just said that was them. They were like, nope, that's us.
That is a wild thing to believe.
Wild. And then a subgroup, and I don't think Kyrie's in this one, and I don't think Kyrie's in that other one. He just thinks it's interesting. But a subgroup of that, I think, and this is the 5%ers, I think their founder truly believed or argued that white people were invented.
By who?
Like in a lab, a black guy.
Well, he ought not done
Why would
that.
he have
That
done
was a-
that?
Yeah, that was a-
Yeah,
that was a
real Frankenstein monster situation. Yeah, it's wild, and that doesn't make it any less anti-Semitic. It's just that it's much crazier than Jews don't hit for me. They control the media.
Yes,
is
that's
all
what
I'm saying.
I was about to say. Like hating Jews and being anti-Semitic, that is a shitty way to be, and a thing you shouldn't do. But not believing that Jews are real or thinking that the Holocaust was a hoax, those are insane things to believe.
Well, a lot of them don't believe the Holocaust was a hoax. Some of them do. Some of them are like, no, that's just Hitler figured it out, son.
Oh my God.
It's wild, and it's weird. Like sociologically, it's very strange because, it's an oppressed group and another oppressed group. But then a lot of people point out that Jewishness gets to be adjacent to whiteness in America. A lot of the things they accuse Jews of doing, really the like racist structure of our. It's very strange and sad.
It's that
sad
they hit too hard. Like racist white dudes, like racist dudes that hate black dudes, it's always like black people don't hit. But then people that hate Jews are like, Jews hit too hard. You know what I'm saying? It's like the complete opposite.
Well, of all people, I heard Andrew Schultz point out, and he didn't invent this, but he said it quite well somewhat recently and got a lot of shit for it. Imagine that on his podcast. But in some ways, that can be not more dangerous in the long term, but more dangerous in a flash, because that's sort of what happened with the Holocaust. If you're hated for being beneath people, which is what racism towards black people is, then that's horrible. The structures around you are designed to keep you down. People don't respect you. It's hard to get jobs, etc. We're aware of that. If you are hated for being better than others, there's less systemic issues, but when and if the tides turn on you, they kill you immediately.
More
in the
violence, more instant violence. Yeah, because it's a fear that I'm going to have something taken away from me because of these people. You know what's funny too? Well, not funny in a ain't this some shit kind of way. I've seen a lot of people defending Kyrie and Kanye by thinking that this makes it better. They're like, well, I mean, you got to understand that, like, the reason they feel that way is because, like, their managers were probably Jews. You know what I mean? And it's like,
that's like, well, you see, they've dealt with them, see, and anybody that's dealt with them can tell you they ain't it. All right, so like that's how that comes across to me.
But they think that they're making a mind blowing point. Like, I didn't think about it like that. It's just
you got to understand that they've actually had to deal with Jews before, unlike the rest of us who don't really know. They know firsthand just how bad it is.
It would be just as funny if it were the reverse, where the black people you have speaking out about how horrific this is, and they were like, he's just saying that because, I'm sure they are saying this, he's just saying that because the Jews pay his bills or whatever.
Yeah, right.
It's such a wild time we're living in, dude. I almost tweeted this. Speaking of wild tweets, I got stoned and wrote this tweet and then I deleted it. But I'll say it on the podcast. I didn't spell the word out. I put stars in there and I said, kind of sucks that we can't say and it was the R word anymore when we're living in the most R word timeline ever.
Yeah.
Like everything is so fucking dumb.
R worded. It's all very R worded, no doubt about it.
I tweeted something like that in 2016 but did say it, and it was basically just like, we really lost the word a little bit too soon, but you should have just kept that up. Son. Yeah, you should have just kept that up. Because I think that might have been. I think
Buddy,
that might have been where our sketch idea for the funeral for the R word came from. Like, was that thread or whatever the fuck?
Still
But
be a
yeah,
great
no,
sketch.
you're right. It's a weird.
Black guy shows up. Why are you here? God, such a good sketch.
Yeah, so it is. It's a wild time, and it's a very stupid time. And I know that this gets, talked about a lot, but it still is something I think about every day in the wake of all these stories about anti-Semitism and like Hitler wasn't wrong about everything. It's that, like, I promise when we were kids, Nazis were not it. Like, it was told to us by papaws, by everyone, Nazis, that ain't it. Your papaw died defending the Nazis. The Nazis ain't it. And all of a sudden, it seems Nazis is it.
Yeah, three things happen all at once, and they're related to each other. One is that AM radio disappeared and was taken over by just whoever could afford the equipment, and who ended up doing it was mostly preachers, but a lot of people, not the Jews. See, the Jews were trying to control the media. The one piece of media the Jews didn't control, and look what happened.
AM radio.
That's where Alex Jones. Yeah, that's where Alex Jones was born. It's where all that right-wing shit was born. All that stuff was dying. It became so fringe, and the white supremacist and far-right movements in America were all but dead. They had no money. No rich people were fucking with them. It had all but gone away. Because of that, we also stopped having to have these battles and shame people and all that. And then the goddamn social media phenomenon took off. And on the backs of the little bit of, I guess, fandom those AM assholes had built, and the Alec Joneses of the world now had a platform to reach people. And unfortunately, Silicon Valley, all these fucking platforms were in the control of like 3 greedy people or 4 greedy companies, or however much you want to, however you want to split it up. And it was the perfect storm. And then these Gen Z kids are now on the internet, and this even happened to some young millennials. They'd never heard any of this shit before. They're like, I guess this makes sense because XYZ, and they're hiding the truth from me. And yeah, it's only the morons, but there's a lot of them out there. It sucks. It sucks. It's creepy and scary, and it sucks. Yeah, dude, they shut down power in Moore County, North Carolina, trying to end a drag show that kids weren't even going to be at. Not that would make it okay. Yeah, domestic terrorists blew up the power grid. The whole county's power's out for this reason, because of what we're talking about, because of the rise of right-wing bullshit and how organized they are allowed to be now. I hate it here.
And they fucking always, the second you're like, this is terrible and it ought not be, they somehow think that all of that is protected by the First Amendment in some way. Like, you can't just point out to these people like, this is a hate crime, it's dictator. It's like, you just can't say anything without pissing anybody off now. And it's like, no, you can't blow a transformer to a business without people getting pissed off, I don't think.
Well, what makes me sick where we live, Trey and I, is all these people who claim to be centrists who are like, yep, that's what it is. Everyone's extreme now. And it's like, dude, people saying that you should get fired on the internet are annoying. That's not the same as domestic terrorism. Stop fucking equating the right and the left extremists, because one's annoying and the other one is literally evil and violent.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, but I could not agree more, man. Like, me and Trey talked about this off mic earlier this week of like how, not to everybody, but a lot of people around here where I'm from, like, me and them have like the exact same beliefs, but they vote Republican. And I always ask them, like, what is, like, me and you have the same views. Why is it that you do? And their whole thing is just like, liberals are just so annoying. And it's like, yeah, those aren't the same things. Like, that's not that. I agree with you, by the way. I fucking 100% agree with you. But like like you said, when one is trying to electroshock gay kids' wieners into making them straight, and the other is just like, we shouldn't use straws, like, that's fucking different. I mean, like, it's way different.
I bet if you had a curved wiener, electroshock would straighten it out.
Probably hit too.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, my sad, cynical response to that is like those people you're talking about don't actually have the same views as you, and it's like fucking scary. Like they think they do or they whatever, but like clearly they don't.
No, I know, but like a lot of them genuinely.
No, they think they do.
Yeah, right. But at the end of the day, they're like, but taxes, gas, whatever. I don't fucking know, dude. But yeah, it is a nightmare out there. But at least tomorrow, it's going to be a close fucking race with Herschel Walker and Raphael Warnock. I hope that everybody out there listening to this had already voted, because this will be coming out a day afterwards. And I'm certain that it's going to be super close, and it too will lead to a goddamn runoff, and this is never going to end. But something that will end, I suppose, is this podcast right now. Come see us at ZANIES, y'all. December 15th through 17th. You can get tickets at WellREDcomedy.com and go see Trey doing his thing in, where were you at again?
I'll be in Santa Monica this Saturday if you're around there. But again,
and Drew's at the Comedy Store, and I'm at parttimefunnyman.com.
if you want to
Thank you all for listening to the WellRED Show. We'd love to stick around longer, but we got to go. Tune in next week if you got nothing to do. Thank you. God bless you. Good night and ski. Howdy there, friends. It's your boy, Corey Ryan Forrester. Some of you may know that I have a thing called a Substack, and you can find it over at parttimefunnyman.com. There's bonus blogs, there's bonus podcasts, there's going to be cartoons and stuff, there's videos, there's the rantings of lunatics, one lunatic in particular, that being me, and it's $5 a month. This is a good way for you to support me, since I'm not going to be on the road as much because I'm having a baby. It's $5 a month, but if you can't afford it, just email buttercreamcorey@gmail.com and I'll take care of you. No questions asked. I don't care if you just, if you're on strike, you're out of work, you got too many hospital bills, you got too many damn kids, or you just broke. I don't care. I'll take care of you. But that's parttimefunnyman.com to support you, boy. Oh, also, I write poems. It's just a little bit of everything. So, y'all take care. I appreciate you. If I Were the King by Corey Ryan Forrester. Maybe it's because I grew up with a mother and grandmother who doted on me without pause, but I always reckoned I'd make a pretty good king. It don't seem near as hard as being the president, as far as I can tell, and it appears these days that just about anybody can do that. One reason I think it'd be easier is that when you're the king, your job isn't in jeopardy just because most people don't like you. I think people would like me as king, though. Of course, I bet that's what everyone thinks. If you're in a position of power, it doesn't matter how well you use it. Some people will hate you just for having it. I guess I can't blame them for that, but I think if I was offered a trial run, I could probably change a few minds. The first thing I would do is get rid of this daylight savings nonsense. It had a good run, but it's long since outstayed its welcome. I think it was implemented so that farmers could have an extra hour to plow their beans or something, but in case nobody has brought this up, most of us ain't farmers anymore. I don't know what the original time was, but whichever one it is that we use in the summer that makes the days longer, that's the one we're going to stick with. Matter of fact, I'm open to the possibility of adding another hour to it so the sun don't go down till about 9:30 p.m. That would give us more time to walk in the park, play golf, sit on our porch, and cuss at the kids who drive too fast. The farmers can work late if they want to, but nobody really needs the sun at 8 a.m. anyhow. We are already miserable and don't want to be awake, so why not save the sun for when we can enjoy it? The second thing I would do is require that any man who wishes to ride a crotch rocket must complete 40 hours of community service a month changing old people's diapers at the nursing home. No one on earth should be allowed to zip down the highway between lanes of traffic on something that was designed to break the sound barrier. Plus, all us normal people would prefer to get home both alive and without pooping ourselves in fear when one of you immature dum-dums pops a wheelie in front of a school bus. I believe in freedom, so I'm not going to outlaw them, but by God, you're going to earn it and finally contribute something to society. The third thing I would do is force McDonald's locations to disclose whether or not their milkshake machine is broken by way of a giant neon sign. When the machine is operating, the sign shall say, "Come on in, we've got milkshakes." When the machine is broken, the sign shall say, "Our milkshake machine is broken. We are sorry that we suck. Please go to Sonic." I have a great many other ideas that I would implement, and I'm not sorry to admit that most of them are food related. Butterfinger will not only return to its original recipe, but will bring back Butterfinger BBs. Failure to do so would be considered an act of treason, and God help you once I'm done using the guillotine to cut up these watermelons. Women would not only be allowed to breastfeed in public, but be required to on the first Tuesday of every month. This would not be in lieu of, but instead a welcome addition to, Taco Tuesday, which under my reign would be considered a national holiday with employees receiving time off, with pay. Speaking of work, when I'm king, any meeting that could have been an email will be an email. And if your job can be done behind a desk, then by God, that desk can be at your house. Those who are required to actually go into work will no longer have to dress in business casual, whatever the hell that means, but will instead get to wear sweatsuits or any other such items of comfort that they may choose. Whether or not said sweatsuits are embroidered with the sigil of your dear king is entirely up to you, but please know it will be taken into account when I make my monthly pilgrimages about town and hand out free lollipops. Yep, I think I could handle the crown just fine. 'Tis such a shame that those whom it would suit so well are never in line for it. Have a great day, y'all.